Hi. So in this module, we're going to go through some of the main WordPress admin console settings. So when you first log into your WordPress website using the WP admin or another login that you can use as well is WP login.php. This is the login page. It'll take you to the same spot that you were in earlier. This is the sort of a vanilla looking admin console, what we call admin console. What you'll see on the left-hand side here depends on the plugins that you've installed and also the theme that you've installed. But since we're using a vanilla WordPress theme 2021, it actually doesn't have a lot of options, and I'll go through some of them. A couple of these options here as well are from SiteGround. So SiteGround installs what they call must-use plugins, and these must-use plugins include the SiteGround Optimizer and SiteGround Security as well. I won't go through those in detail. I'll actually go through those at the end because there's a module that I'm going to focus on which talks about improving the performance of a website, but I'll go through some of these other options that are common to for all WordPress implementations and installations. So when you first log into your admin site, again, depending on what you have installed, you'll see a bit of a different screen. So this is because it's SiteGround implementation will again have some certain things plugged in and installed, and it makes it look and behave a certain way. For the most part, however, the top bar here gives you some quick shortcuts, and it will be visible every time you are logged into your website. And also, even if you're navigating your website, you'll see that top bar. It'll be visible the whole time you're logged in. So you can, if you log out of the site, you'll be able to, you won't see that obviously, but this top bar will be visible regardless, as long as you're logged in to the website. So it can be disabled, but the default setting is that it's there when you're logged in. So the top bar will include things like this WordPress button, has a little bit more about WordPress. Here you can navigate to your site. If you have e-commerce installed, there'll be another option here, visit store. This just tells you how many updates are outstanding for this particular website. So this could be plugins or themes. If you have any comments, if you want to create a new post, add media, page, or user, there's a quick little new button that you can do that in. And then this one's specific to the SiteGround performance. So as you remember, I talked about the caching being implemented out of the box. So this will, if you're making some changes to your website and you want to clear the cache, you click that and it'll purge the cache, SiteGround cache. This item here just shows you who's logged in. So this is your user profile here. You can click on your user profile, edit your user profile, or log out of the website. So that's the top bar, and it contains some useful information there that you can use while you're building your website or maintaining your website or making any changes. On the left-hand side menu here, you'll see the dashboard. That's where we are right now. We're on the home screen. This can be modified based on user preferences or again, depending on what plugins you have installed. And the other piece here is the updates that I'll go into. So the updates will show you any outstanding updates you may have that you need to update for your website. So this will also have the WordPress version as well. So we're on the latest version right now, so it's not going to show anything. But if you were version behind, it would say you're on version 5.7, 5.8 is out, and please update. Remember, SiteGround will update this automatically after 24 hours if you don't do it manually yourself. Plugins, we've disabled automatic plugins. You can update plugins here, or you can update it from the plugins section here that I'll go through. And then themes, all of our themes are up to date, but updates would show up here as well if you had any outstanding theme updates that there's a new version installed or whatever. So again, like I said, you can update plugins through here, or you can update it on the plugin screen itself. So I'll leave it for now. I'm not going to update it here. I'll actually go into the plugins after. Posts are blog posts. So the post section here shows you the latest blog posts, or actually all of the blog posts that are created on this website. So right now we only have this intro one. So our website currently is set up to show a blog roll. So meaning this particular website and theme right now is configured to show not a page, but actually all of the latest blog posts that are applicable or that are on this website. So if you, so it gives you a little excerpt, if you click continue reading, or if you click on the actual title, it'll actually open up the blog post in more detail, and there's comments and some other stuff. This is all specific to the theme that we're using right now, which is 2021. So in the back end here, this is where a client could go in and either create a new blog post or edit an existing blog post. Again, you can have multiple users on the website that can create content on their own or edit content individually or edit somebody else's content as well. You would click here to add a new blog post. You can also set categories and tags. So this is just a way to categorize your content. So for example, so categories are really useful, and they're highly recommended in order to categorize your content in a certain way and kind of structure it. So this is also good for SEO. So it's good practice to get used to using categories as well. Media is where you upload all of your pictures, videos, anything else, although I don't recommend uploading videos directly. On here, the system will obviously allow you. So from a performance perspective, you don't want to upload videos and put them on your website because that'll slow it down. I recommend uploading them to YouTube and then embedding them. That's going to be a little bit better, but either way, this is where you add images and manage images as well. So if I click on an image, you'll see that it has some information here in terms of when was it uploaded, by who, what is the file type, how large it is, the dimensions, and some of the other stuff where you can set the alt tag here, you can set the title, caption, description, and this is the URL for this particular image. So all of the images and media go into this folder, WP content uploads, and then it's date stamped as well. You can also through here edit images. So there are some settings to, for example, crop images, scale them, and so forth. So this is useful if you, if you want to make a quick edit to an image right in the console itself, right in the admin console. So it's a useful feature. So this is where you, view all of the media or add new media to your website. Pages are similar to posts, although pages are actual pages for your website. So right now you'll see that we don't have any pages, but you'll see that once we add our theme and once we import a template for that theme, a lot of pages are going to be created, and then we will be able to view and edit them. But they work very similarly to posts as well. So they have a very similar feature set and look and feel, and I'll show you that in a second. Comments can be disabled, but comments are good if you're looking to build some interaction, between yourself and your visitors. So, they're not, by default, they're not enabled on pages, obviously, but on blog posts, they are enabled by default, and they are visible depending on your theme. So most themes have them enabled. You can see it right here. However, you can disable this. You can also disable embedding URLs. So this is good from a spam control perspective. You can disable people putting in URLs. So managing spam comments is a challenge with WordPress. So it's recommended to have either a plugin to manage spam or kind of tighten up the controls in the settings so that new comments have to be moderated. That's highly recommended. But either way, they're all going to show up here. You can approve, unapprove them. You can mark them as spam or throw them into trash or reply to them. Appearance is where you will see all of your themes that are installed. So themes actually provide a lot of the functionality of your website, not just the look and feel, but also how certain things work on your website. So they're very important when it comes to working with WordPress. And actually, if you're you'll see when we install the Astra theme how different our settings will actually become, and some of the options that we have available for WordPress itself. So themes are very important. You can look for new themes here by clicking add new. You can download your own theme and upload them. So if you click add new, it'll show you the search search capability here. So you can, there's thousands of free themes that you can install, or you can download them and upload them using using this option where you upload a zip file and install a theme. So this is a little bit different. This look and feels might be a little bit different than what you're used to, or if you're in another hosting provider. It looks like actually SiteGround overwrites this slightly with some, maybe their recommended themes or whatever, I'm not sure. I usually recommend using a fast and efficient theme, just like, themes can make and break your website. Like, they can add a lot of functionality. They can also add a lot of assets and images and scripts and things that will slow down your website. So, primarily look for a efficient theme first of all. So that's one of the main things, and then look for a theme that has the functionality that they're looking for. So I'll spend a little bit more time on themes when we get to that module, but this is where you would download, install, and set up your themes. I'm going to skip customize for now. I'll show you in a second why. Widgets are still, I would say, important, not as important as some of these other things. So that's because they're not widely as used anymore. Some themes use them heavily, other themes don't. It's good to be familiar with what widgets are and how to modify them. So for example, for this particular site, all of these things are widgets that can be modified. So you see there's a footer widget. So you can modify the footer widget. You can add or create new widgets on your own as well. So a widget will show up. So see, there's a footer right here. This footer is on this particular theme is controlled by widgets. Other themes won't use widgets at all. So it's good to understand that they exist and how to modify them, but they're not, I wouldn't say they're absolutely a critical thing to know. I think a lot of theme developers are also kind of moving away from them. Menus are where you control and create your menus for your website. So this is a centralized place. This is a really cool feature of WordPress where you can manage and create and edit menus from this particular area, and you can create multiple menus. You could create a mobile menu and a main menu that gets called on different pages or different sections of your website. For this particular, you can see there's no menu right now. There's nothing showing up on our homepage. So that's because the menu doesn't exist. I'm pretty sure 2021 does, this particular theme does have support for menus. But since we don't have any pages right now, I'll add this post to the menu, and let's just see what happens if it shows up on the website right away. Or not, and if not, yeah, it's right there. So there is team support 2021 for menus, meaning they do embed the menus on the main page, and that's how you would manage them. So you would add them here, and they would just show up on the top. So it's a really easy way for either a developer or a client to go in and modify and add new menu items on here as well. A background is something that's specific. So this particular setting here is specific to the theme. So actually this will take me to the customize settings. You can change it looks like you set an image, background image. We're not gonna do that now. I'm just gonna exit out of here because this is another area that I wanna cover. So every theme will have this customize option. And what you get in those options is slightly different. So for 2021, if I click customize, it'll open up that menu that we were just looking at now, and it'll have other options that are that you can use in order to make changes to your site. So for example, site identity, that's this section here. You can hide the tagline, for example. Let's just call it Clio websites. Right now, we'll call our website Clio websites. You can add a site icon here, a fav icon as well. Let's leave that. You can select and change the background color, for example. Let's pick white. And then you can set that background image that we saw earlier. You can you can select which menu shows up here on the right-hand side. Which widgets show up where, excerpt settings. So for example, here on the blog roll, we're actually in a blog post right now. We're not on the main page, but you can say, I want to see, let's see if it switches us to the, no, it's still in the post. So you could say if you want to see an excerpt, like a quick, a few liners summary of your blog post on your main page, or if you want a full text. To see all of the text. Then you can put in your custom CSS here. For example, if you wanted to change the default font size for this heading, you can apply them here and they'll get applied across that theme. So again, these are gonna look a little bit different. We'll go through them when we're working with Astra. Right now, I'm just gonna publish and let's get out of here for a sec. We're just gonna close. Oh, and my title didn't get updated. So let's see what's happening here and why it's hidden. Oh, you can also set a logo here as well. So I'm not going to upload one now. Again, this is going to look a little bit different, but I'm not really sure why where my heading disappeared, but that's fine. We'll fix it in another place. So that'll be a good opportunity to show you something else. So that's it for the customize setting. So this is where you change some of those settings that are specific to the theme that you're using. Okay, so let's just go back to the home page, and this is what I was showing you earlier in terms of that blog roll and what that looks like. Okay, so plugins. This is where you'll see all of your plugins that are installed. You don't need any plugins actually for WordPress to function or work. Plugins are kind of like an extension of functionality that you have on your WordPress website. So plugins, you know, are very extensive. There's thousands of plugins that you can install and add. I would say, you know, be careful about adding too many. And I'll go through plugins in a little bit more detail in another module, but this is where you manage them. So this is where you see all of your installed plugins. This is where you can update them as well. It'll show you an indication if there's a new version, and it'll say updated. For example, when you do update them, you can also inactivate them here and delete them as well. So you can't delete an active plugin. You have to inactivate in order to delete. So just going to do that. But again, we'll spend a little bit more time on plugins because it's an important component of WordPress. To add new, you can either go here or add new through here. And you can, again, search like you can themes, or you can upload them. The users menu item, this is where you manage your user accounts. So you'll see that this is the only user that's available right now, which is my admin account, and it'll tell you which role they have. So when you're creating new users, or you can allow users to join the website on their own. The default role that they'll get is a subscriber. So there's an administrator, editor, subscriber, and a contributor, I believe. Those are the out of the box user roles, and that can be applied, and they each have things that they can and can't do. One thing I'll mention here from a security perspective, some of the hosts, and I think the default WordPress installation, actually WordPress.org installation will add, instead of this username, it'll add admin instead. And so if you see that, I would urge you to add a new username that's not admin and disable the admin username from a security perspective, because admin, hackers are typically using that username in order to exploit WordPress websites. So it's good practice to name your admin username something else. In my case, it's my email address from a security perspective. And again, SiteGround, when we were creating a website initially, if you remember, in one of the first modules, it asked what username I want to specify for the admin role. So you can either click on here in order to edit this user account, or you can add a new one. Let's just add a new one real quick, because this is important. So if you're adding a new user, you have to specify their username, their email. Those things are required, and then everything else is not required. You can generate a strong password out of the box. You can send the user an email about their account, and they can change their password as well. And you have to set a role that they belong to. So remember, I said I forgot author actually as well. So there's a subscriber, which is like the bare minimum. There's the contributor, author, editor, and administrator, and they each have, obviously, administrator is the highest level access. After that, it's editor, and it kind of goes down the line like that. So the default's always going to be subscriber. But again, if you want somebody to be able to create and edit posts or pages, you want to give them either contributor or author access, depending on your implementation. An editor will be able to not only create new blog posts, they'll also be able to edit existing ones as well. So that one's also a powerful user role. For now, I'll just add this fake user as a subscriber, and just to show you what their profile looks like. So here you can also set up, from this screen, you can send a password reset. I'll go directly to that email, and they'll be able to reset their password if they forget it or whatever. You can also view, sorry, that's a wrong button. So if you click here, this will show their, you could create user profile pages as well, or author pages, and modify them. So if you click view, this actually gets added by default by WordPress as well. It can be disabled, but it gets added by default. But there's nothing here because we don't have a page or author profile for this user account. So I'll just go back for a sec, and instead of view, I'm actually going to go click edit to show you a little bit more options that you have under a user account. So you can change the color scheme and some other things. You can change their role. You can specify some more information, and you can set some biographical information, things like that will show up on that author profile as well. You can set a new password directly through here. So you can create a new password for the user here and click update user in order to save this new password, or you can send them a password link if they forget their password. So those are pretty straightforward options, but this is where all of the users for your particular website are managed and created. If you click profile, so add new obviously adds a new user, as you've seen already, and then profile will go into your own profile, so you can edit some of your personal details. Everything can be changed other than the username, which was originally created. So if you have to change the username, you actually have to delete or inactivate this account and then create a new one. So tools are some tools that come with the default installation of WordPress. You can import, export data in various formats. You can check your site health, so you can take a look at. It'll say which if you have, for example, themes that are stale or plugins that are stale, or if you have any other issues in terms of performance or whatever, it'll actually show up on this screen, and it'll guide you on what needs to be done in order to fix that. So see here, it's saying that you have inactive themes. So it's generally good practice to maybe keep one or two of these default themes installed, and then any other themes that you have that you're not using, you should delete them because they pose a security risk, especially if you're not keeping them up to date. So this has a bunch of useful information. You can also export and erase personal data of your users as well here. So that's also useful. And that's pretty much it for some of these standard. These are some of the main settings here that you have in the dashboard. Again, you'll see as we create our website and start adding features like plugins and the theme, this will change a little bit and look a little bit different. So in the next module, we're going to talk about the settings tab. So I'll go through this one in a little bit more detail in the next module of the course. So let's just recap and see where we're at. So the main things about the admin console that we covered, managing user access and privileges. So that's a key takeaway. So creating new user profiles, managing user profiles, doing password resets and so forth. Again, deleting that admin username, default username is key. So just get familiar with that user dashboard, because especially for membership type sites or for sites that are using e-commerce, this is really important because users will be able to create their own profiles in order to purchase products or join your community website, for example. Learn to work with posts, pages, and appearance and plugin sections. So posts, pages, appearance, and plugins, all of those, I work with on a daily basis. So those are really important to know. You saw my little fumble with the customized screen in appearance. So, all of those settings are going to be specific to the themes that you're working with. So if you're not familiar with the theme, you may need to familiarize yourself with some of these settings, because they are appearance, especially settings, are going to be very specific to the theme that you're working with. I don't usually work with 2021, so I'm not too familiar with some of these basic settings that they have, but you'll see that they look a little bit different when we install the Astra theme and start playing around with that a little bit more. And the key thing again is checking for updates and applying them. So going to that updates screen and looking for any outdated plugins, themes, or WordPress core. The WordPress version upgrades, that's key, like applying them on a timely basis, because a lot of the issues that people have from a security perspective come from either plugins or themes that are not updated, or plugins or themes that they've downloaded somewhere that maybe contain malware that they're not downloading or installing them from reputable places. So we'll cover that when we go through some of those sections in terms of installing plugins, managing plugins, and managing themes as well. So that's it for topic number 4. So yeah, we'll jump to topic number 5 next. Thanks.